This is great.
Yeah, it's about time. All our collabs thus far have been for demonology essays. It's about time I had you on my channel. I was planning to ask you on.
Sweet. Well, timing couldn't have been better. I just
Well,
figure I'm like, you know what? Like, oh, I wonder because I always see the live streams like, I wonder if you ever want to just do one because I've been wanting to do something like this for a while now.
oh yeah. Hey, shit. Maybe I'll have you on for a second stream too. Fuck it. I'm about to. I've already done two with Robbie. I'm supposed to be doing a second one with my friend Nina soon. She helped us
Nice.
with the Han Valar essay.
Oh, nice. Okay, gotcha.
Mhm. So, you used the phrase "the timing couldn't have been better," which is ironic considering how bad we mixed up each other's time zones.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was funny. I thought we were gonna be like 2 hours. Um, we had a 2 hour difference, but it seems like it was a 4 hour difference. So
Um, so I
I'll
thought you were
have to
one.
remember that in the future.
So I thought you were 1 hour ahead of me, but you were actually 2 hours behind. So we are simultaneously 2 hours late and right on time.
Right on time.
Hey,
I'm sure there's a lot of people that have been wanting to I guess work and see this live stream for a while. So
oh, I bet, I bet.
yeah. Oh,
People are like,
Sean
why hasn't he
Sean's
been
like,
on
I
yet?
have seen Augustus's sigils and now a face reveal. Hi.
This isn't really a face reveal.
It's not really a face reveal. I mean, I'm still wearing a mask.
Yeah. So yeah. So my last live stream was actually supposed to be 2 days earlier than it happened, but her time zone was GMT plus 8. To this day,
Right.
I don't know whether she's 13 hours ahead of me or 11 hours behind, but we made it work the
Hey,
second
there you
time.
go. There you go.
The fact that neither of us caught the mistake. But all right, I see 12 active viewers. Would you go ahead and introduce
Nice.
yourself?
All right. Everybody who's in this live stream, if you haven't heard of me before, my name is, well, I go by Augustus Grigori on YouTube as well as everywhere else that's under my pen name. I'm an eclectic occultist for over 15 years. I've been on and off in the in the space. I keep to myself a lot usually when it comes to stuff. Every now and then, you may you may recognize me or like you may recognize my name from sigil channelings. That's something that I'm usually remembered by. I I kind of like left my mark on the occult world with a sigil channeling of Mammon. And because of that, I feel like if you just Google Mammon sigil, you will pretty much find my sigil just everywhere. It got so widespread. Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss actually used my sigil. I don't
Both
even
of them
know if
did?
they even, huh?
Both of them?
I mean, it's the same universe.
Oh,
So
okay.
they used it for Mammon, but yeah, they basically worked with worked with my sigil. I don't even know if they knew, but that was it. I've seen a few of my sigils in other grimoires, which is pretty cool. Um, so yeah, I'm usually known for that, the sigil channelings. I have a channel of my own on YouTube as well. I do sporadic uploads every now and then, commentating about certain demons and different things. I like to contribute with my own content and stuff, basically anything that I channel. So if you like UPG, you know where to find me. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Um, so what funny thing is, right before we got on camera together, I sent my friend Rain, who's also been on the show, said, "Hey, by
right
the way,
on.
I'm about to go live with Augustus." And her first response was like, Isn't that the guy who channels the really cool Goasic sigils?" So that was like exactly how she remembered you. But yeah, I've done
Perfect.
rituals with you remotely over FaceTime. We've never met in person, but I can say for a fact that you're a really phenomenal medium.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm my own worst critic, so I don't know I don't know how
We
other
all
people
are.
see me, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I've never heard anything negative about you, but
Oh, thanks, man.
of course. So, can you tell me a bit about your experience with Sorath, the cardinal demon of the sun?
Oh, sweet. Okay, so um my experience with Sorath in the beginning was really interesting. So I oh boy. Me and him have an interesting relationship, so it's a little hard to really pinpoint all the workings that we did, but in terms of my workings with Sorath, originally I actually had no idea who Sorath was. So um in the beginning when I was learning the earlier like in my earlier years on necromancy and more like left hand path focused stuff, I was basically looking for more like spirits that are just more focused on influence. And I had mentors at that time who were, well, I mean, they were necromancers, and they suggested that I started to work with Sorath. They were very very talented magicians. What ended up happening was I didn't know who Sorath was, so you know I decided, okay, well let's work with him. And then that's actually how I found your website. Believe it or not, it was because of Sorath, and you had the commentary about Rudolf Steiner and all these other things. You know how um, the German dude was basically had some sort of like some weird occult relationship with him too as well. So in the beginning, I worked with him uh, for my career in the beginning, and I didn't really have much footing or understanding. There wasn't really a lot of information on him, as you can tell. And as far as my practices were, he was incredible. He was really powerful. I mean, I'm really surprised there's not a lot out there like talking about him. Like you're not really gonna find him traditionally in like a lot of grimoires, even in like modern grimoires. Like I usually buy a lot of like modern age grimoires. I have like a whole just the library of books upstairs on specific spirits and callings and everything, but I don't see a lot of content on Sorath. So he's interesting because based off of my experience, he worked a lot with me in terms of like, building your career, building wealth, making money, influencing other people, especially when it comes to influencing other people. I did one of my biggest rituals in like ever was back in late January. So if anyone remembers about that weird like planetary alignment that happened on January 25th, that was the time where I decided to go on this like Asia wide trip. And what I did specifically was based on all the countries that I was visiting. I did so in a sequence which would trace Sorath's sigil in the sky.
Mm, nice.
So basically the direction went from starting from Japan, then to South Korea, and then we were basically flying down to Thailand and then finishing it off in the Philippines before flying back to Los Angeles while Los Angeles was still on fire, and then back home. So I started the um I started the ritual. It was like nighttime when I was in Tokyo. I was in Asakusa during that time. It was it was a really famous temple. I don't know why I can't remember it right now. Um but it was the first temple that was ever built in Tokyo. Let's just go with that. It's in Asakusa. Anyways, started it there, and then that was like the whole ritual. And then I was basically traveling for a month and a half, traveling the world and doing rituals. And I would visit sacred spots every time and do a very discreet, of course, evocation of Sorath in each of these spots.
Mm,
So I was basically going from like temple to temple in Japan. I even visited a bunch of torii gates. I know I probably shouldn't have been screwing with those things because I know Shintoists wouldn't be too happy with that. But I even went to a bunch of Buddhist temples in South Korea, as well as a bunch of Buddhist temples and wats in Thailand, and then finishing that off with visiting various like significantly religious areas in the Philippines as well, and then moving over to, finishing off the ritual. And yeah, that was basically it. And the intention behind that was kind of like to open a bit of a like a gate, basically a gigantic gate for Sorath to kind of start creeping in a little bit more, and having a little bit more influence in the world. And it seems like it's working, seeing the current state of affairs with the world. So
yeah,
go figure. Of course, there was more personal reasons as to why I did that in the first place, but that's a whole that's a whole different thing that I won't really talk much about because it's not really interesting. But eventually in the future, I will be kind of releasing some not only commentary but some content or some channelings based off of Sorath, because there doesn't seem to be a lot of information on him. Um, People talk about it, Sorath being like the representation of something that's the Antichrist, or something that is like an aspect of Satan, or whatever it is. I'm still trying to figure that out as to like what or who Sorath is. So it is what it is. So yeah, that's basically what I was able to get when it comes to working with him. He's powerful. He's very quiet based off of what I've been able to tell. A lot of presence can be felt. He's interesting. He's always manifested as something like massive. Usually when you evoke something like an entity, they usually appear in the room, right? Or like wherever you are. But if I evoke Sorath, he never does that. He likes to basically show up as a giant entity that manifests in like the horizon. So like I can't see him unless I have a mountain view of outside my home. So if I look out my window from my room, you can see the mountains and like the trees and everything. So when you when I talk to him, he shows up like just from the bust, like from the shoulder up, and he's always massive. Schonberg asks, so the rituals of Sorath in some way thin the veil. Um, yeah, yeah. Um, I could say so. I would hope so. I would
yeah,
hope to thin the veil, because if anything, um, we really should. It should be easier for practitioners to be able to reach out to him. My goal is to contribute as much as I can in this lifetime for other practitioners and other people who want to evolve.
hell yeah. So, by the way, a long time
Yeah.
ago, you were told by your spirits to like get rid of all your ritual equipment and start anew. So you
Oh
gave a
yeah.
lot of it away as gifts. Yeah. So I actually still use the pendulum
Oh
board
sweet.
you gave me. Yeah, I still use it to this day.
Oh my
You told me
gosh,
that
that's
you,
wonderful.
huh?
That's wonderful.
Yeah, you told me that you were covering it with like Saturnian and Plutonian imagery for the purpose of divination. I really like it.
I'm glad you like it. I'm honestly really glad you like it, and the fact that you still use it is just fantastic.
So, in my experience with Sorath, believe it or not, I haven't really worked with him for wealth. I've actually mostly worked with him for the alchemy of Doth. So,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
the two main rulers of Doth are Karanzan and Chagall. In Hebrew Gematria, both of their names have a numerical value of 333. So
Right.
together they're 666, which is also the value of Sorath's name.
Right,
I
yeah.
found that's yeah. I found that Sorath really likes to be summoned from a position of strength. Um, One time I actually summoned him when I was at a super low point. And the guy straight up said to me, like, "You are unworthy," and then left. So I prayed to him and said, "Hey, I know I'm kind of in shambles, but I'm kind of summoning you to help get back on the horse. Would you
Yeah.
mind assisting me?" So he appeared real quick, opened the abyss, and then surrounded me with the fallen magicians that got added to the abyssal hive mind and let me interview them, which led to most of what I know about the abyss. Um, so that was really cool. I do call on him when I perform the Gothic soul empowerment for clients alongside Mammon, which is the next demon I wanted to ask you about.
Sure. Yeah, of course. You can definitely ask me.
Yeah, so what's your experience with him been like?
With Mammon. Oh, well, I work very closely with him. That's one thing that I've definitely I don't want to say I have expertise in him, but like let's say I definitely have a lot of influence with it. But yeah. Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments right now. It was it Ali? Didn't expect him
Uh,
to look so young. He's kinda um so Mammon helped me shape a lot of my like my world and my career basically. And he himself he manifests in a lot of like interesting ways. So just to kind of dispel a lot of like I'll just go on my own, go off on my own UPG. So there's a common misconception. There's a lot of people out there that go like, "Oh, Mammon's not like a real demon, or he's not really a real spirit because like the word Mammon just translates to greed." And there's like this weird like um dissonance when it comes to identifying what is Mammon. But I think what people don't understand is that Mammon himself, I like to think of him as like he's kind of like an old god that just kind of was like, "Hey, this name's pretty cool. I'll take it." But also at the
yeah.
same time, I think he's also one of those entities that is kind of like a manifested like personification of greed, of material and whatnot. So in order for me to work with Mammon in the beginning, because I couldn't, like, the funny thing is I couldn't really work with Mammon without working with Lucifer first. And the reason why, at least from what I was experiencing from and also kind of reading from other authors as well, is that he has like this really um strong loyalty towards Lucifer as a higher authority. So I had to work with Lucifer first before I worked with Mammon. But anyways, when I was channeling his sigil, and then when that started getting more public, that's when my career just kind of just started going haywire, which I found really funny because I had no intention of like making his sigil big. It was just one of those things where I think it just showed up on the internet one day, and that was it. Like, I think there's like a million things on Redbubble right now that like people print his sigil that I channeled on mugs and shirts, and you can go on AliExpress and people have manufactured like pendants with that sigil. And based off of my own findings, like Mammon is not just some sort of like offshoot a god or demon or deity. He has legions himself that he he works with, and I find it really interesting because he has these aspects of him which are like he can be like a solar entity, he can go Jupiterian, he can go Saturnian. I've had him shown up as a chthonic being, like as a necromantic spirit that works with the dead. It just he has different flavors to him that you can work with. Now, of course, anyone who works with Mammon, obviously, you're going to work with him for money, wealth, careers, the whole spectrum when it comes to material wealth. And when people do work with him, I talk with him a lot, and either through channelings or divinations, and you you'd see a lot of people try to work with him, and I see a lot of varying results when they work with Mammon specifically, and I think it's mainly because people try to um, they try to make money a little bit too tangible in terms of like understanding what an energetic signature is or working with Mammon, because Mammon works with greed. Mammon works with the energies of wealth. It's not like money as a whole, because money is a concept that we as people invented. So it's something that like he's kind of beyond that grasp of what that really means. So when you work with him, those that succeed the most in working with Mammon, those who have succeeded the most with working Mammon, they just view wealth and money just a lot more differently. You know what I mean? Like it's not just like make me money, make me rich, get me this, get me that. There's a lot more nuance to it. It's about like power, everything that has to do with greed. You associate it with like you associate it with Mammon, you associate it with God, I just sound like I'm yapping now. um,
No, you're good.
you associate it with you associate it with power, you associate it with greed, and it's just like excess of a lot of things. If you work with lucifuge, Rofocal, you would kind of know where I'm coming from. But Mammon himself, when I was working with him, I learned very differently. I learned that um money is viewed very differently by people who are like elites, people who are wealthy. People up there in the upper echelons of society work with Mammon very differently. He likes Here's the thing. He likes public worship, but he also likes subtle public worship. You people don't know this, but his presence is actually everywhere you go. You just might overlook it. It could be anything from the logos of Fortune 500 companies that you just might not understand, but are actually like quietly working on it. There are like Chinese billionaire companies, like worth billions, if not trillions of dollars, that utilize feng shui to build upon the land that they work with to like like allow the flow of the work, and his presence is kind of like found there, right? um when I was working with him after Vivzy Pop kind of like started promoting the sigil that I channeled and started putting it in the music videos of Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss, they like suddenly my career just kind of exploded. I started getting a bunch of um I can't really say much about my career, guys. I'm sorry. It's one of those things where I have to be a little bit vague. But just long story short, but I had a few wealthy families contact me for a few things. I had a bunch of corporations contact me for a few things. I have some really interesting clients that you all work with, um, that just ended up creating like a lifelong career relationship. And moving forward, it's going to be one of the reasons why I'm going to be moving and traveling the world again to do more work, and eventually explore upon the occult from different parts of the world. Um, there are some questions right now that I'm just seeing right now that are
I'm going to
talking
talk a bit
about.
about Mammon before you.
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
So Mammon is the demon that helped me just build my business model. So two of the
Yes.
three first ritual services that I started selling, two of them call on him. One was specifically revealed by him. He actually taught me a lot about Doth as well. He taught me that you can
Nice.
use the energy of Doth to strengthen any demonic evocation, as well as to make your curses manifest quicker. Um,
Yes.
he's been super helpful. I love that guy. Um, so Trill Gates asked if either of us found Sorath to be more difficult to channel than other spirits.
Ooh. Um, VK, what's your stand on that?
I personally haven't. I don't know why Trill here is struggling more with him, but I know there are situations where, for example, um, when I, when I was younger, I really was not in good touch with my masculinity, so I really did better with female entities than male entities. Um, it could be a situation like that. It could be like when I first invoked Lucifer, when I first invoked his light aspect. That was really difficult for me because I was very darkness, oriented. It could be that maybe you don't have, much of a developed resonance with the sun. It could be all kinds of things. Yeah, your turn. If you have an answer.
To add to that specifically, sometimes, like people have just better compatibility channeling other spirits just more than others. And when we have a good relationship that we're able to channel a different spirit better than another, we tend to base it on this idea that, like, oh, well, I have trouble evoking this one as opposed to this one. Sometimes it just flies, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it is what it is. Really, your best bet is just change your approach or just keep doing what you're doing until you reach that breaking point. It's never going to be perfect all the time. It's always great when you hit a home run the first time, but you do have to just work with what you got. Like there are people out there that just naturally resonate better with Mammon or something else. Like I know a lot of people that like just are like straight up. Well, Mammon doesn't work for me. He doesn't really like know my shit as well. So I moved on. I work with, I don't know, Nitika or something. I don't know. Right. It just depends. Like you work with what works with you and whatnot. Um, what else is there? A question goes, does Mammon have a female aspect? Have you found a female aspect? I haven't found any gendered aspect at all, really.
Yeah, Mammon has given me a sigil for for her female aspect, but I haven't summoned it yet.
Okay.
So
I mean,
Trill asked, "How did you get good at channeling sigils without knowing much about the entity beforehand?"
oh, um, that's a really good question. Um, I hate to say it. I'd really hate to say it because I know that it would discredit a lot of hard work for people who genuinely try a lot. Um, I myself, like, it's just something I naturally had that I
Mhm.
just identified sooner. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't reach what I'm doing. It's just a matter of practice. Like, there's things that I'm not as good at when it comes to working. Like, for example, here's a really good example. I'm not really that good at divination. Like, I'm just not. I'm not really the best at doing divination. I typically use a lot of different like systems I've set up to make it like more efficient and get clearer answers on things. But when it comes to something like channeling, that worked with me, that stuck with me. And then I just improved on it. I just kept on working with it because I just found what was working for me. It's kind of like, if you grow up in school, like maybe you were the art kid, like you realize you drew better than the other kids. And so you just kind of built upon that. It's the same, it's the same concept, basically. So I just naturally kind of did it.
Okay. So there's two main ways to channel sigils. One is to let it appear in your mind's eye and just draw what you see. You might just see a piece at first, you might see the whole thing, depends on you. To get better at that method, you know those visualization exercises they teach in like beginner's guides to Wicca and shit like that?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, visualization exercises would definitely help you get that approach down. The other is just letting your hand move. In that case, any type of shit where you're channeling spiritual energy through your hands, whether that's like using a pendulum or a Ouija board, those will both help you get that technique down pat.
Yeah, I agree. I I've I've done I usually do that method specifically on the let your hand kind of do the work.
Mm.
Uh, People do ask, okay, well, if you let your hand do the work, how the hell do you make it look that way? It's just how it works, dude. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Like, what else was there that they asked?
Don't try to make your sigils look like Augustus's or mine. Like they will look like whatever yours look like.
Yeah, work with what you're working to. Like, don't try to make it some like someone else's work. Lena says, for me, was super difficult to contact Lucifer and impossible with King Paimon, but others were super quick to answer. That's a really good example, like right there, right? People just have difficulty in some things. People find it easy to work with other entities. I'm trying to remember, like there's a few entities that were pretty uh tough to contact, or like notoriously tough to contact. Oh, Beleth is like really, he's known to be like a pain in the butt to contact for a lot of people. I don't know if it's a fear thing, but notoriously difficult. People always say like, "Oh, I can't," and if I do, he just kind of goes away real quick. Um, yeah, that's
Everyone, make sure you like the stream.
like the stream, please.
Yeah.
Oh, also just a universal like answer. If if you really just want to get better at everything universally and just like 10x, 100x your output in any sort of magical operation, just get to the point where you're able to evoke and contact your holy guardian angel or demon. Like you get to that point, if you can do that, you're good. Like like you're good. You really don't have to you really don't have to work as hard as the regular practitioner. It's just one of those things where it would exponentially grow it. So yeah, that's like my best tip is like, hey, I'm having trouble with this, like, and this and this and this. Well, have you tried, I don't know, contacting your HGA or HGD? I mean, that usually fixes most problems.
So Ignice asked if you have worked with Amdusius, the Galatian demon.
Good question. I have not.
He's
So
cool. He
I
specializes in torture magic, which the experimental side of me wants to try it, but I just don't. I feel. So, I'm not sure I'm ruthless enough.
I mean, if people want to do that, like, hey, if you want to torture a person, I mean, go for it, right? Like, that's your if that's your shtick, right? But no, I haven't worked with Amdusius, but he sounds really cool. If you're really looking to hit someone where it hurts, so go for it.
There was one spirit. I forget which, but I wrote an essay about them recently. Um, they specialize in torture magic that involves capturing a fire elemental,
Oh wow.
torturing it astrally, and then using its pain to fuel your manifestations.
Oh
That's what I'm
my.
thinking when I say I might want to try it. But that just seems so mean. What did the fire spirit do?
Yeah, like what did he do? Poor guy just got like jarred up and he's like, oh shit. I mean, hey, whatever works.
Yeah.
Personally, I myself don't go that that route. But what else are people saying here?
I don't know. I'm scrolling.
Black Therion says he's learned a lot. or they've learned a lot from me. Um,
Hell yeah.
you're welcome. I'm really happy to hear that, and please, go keep going. Really happy about that. Um, any advice of revenge against someone who cursed you? What's your what's your input, VK? Tell me what would you what could you recommend to Trill?
So basically, one thing I learned from Big Coco when I was out in Utah, you can either write their name on a piece of paper or get a picture of them or an effigy. You want to tie a red cord around that to bind the person to their fate. Um, at the start of the ritual, think about every single thing you know about them, to help you connect to your target. See if you can vampirize them a bit. That will also strengthen the connection, strengthen the curse. Um, don't just vampirize them, but put a bit of their energy into the effigy or picture or whatever, rather than just taking it into yourself. Focus all your rage unless you're using like a necrosophic approach. Some people like to feel no emotion rather than feeling bloodlust and rage. But and I do that when I feel no emotion when I do Karakti and necromantic curses. But with most other things, I focus on my rage. Um, go until you're completely exhausted. If you're still hung up on the target afterwards, curse them again. Fuck it. Um, you can use the power of Doth to accelerate the manifestation. Obsidian strengthens curses. Meteorite makes them happen quicker. Yeah.
Nice.
You don't curse
Trill,
much, do you?
me? No.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't. It's not that I'm not like a vindictive individual. It's just I can't be bothered. At most, I'll just probably like reverse it and then just bind them and then be on my way. I don't like speaking much about curses and like really just revenge in general. Honestly, the reason why it's no one's business. And then at the same time, I don't like talking about it because the last thing I want is the wrong people to hear this kind of information. Um, the best revenge you can always give to someone is just honestly just send it back, and then like yeah, you could keep firing at it, you could fight back, um but just make sure you're smart enough to protect yourself properly. It is always good to protect yourself, and it's better to just bind a person because if, say for example, you put someone in their place, and after they cursed you, maybe they may not be strong, but they may know stronger people,
Mhm.
right? Better to bind
Yeah.
them from them to go call their big brother to come, whoop your ass. Really, that's my philosophy. It's just
Uh,
not really worth it. Tony says, "What's the difference between the HGA and HED?" There is no difference.
yeah, same.
HGA,
I was about to
HED,
say that.
it's just terminology. It's not really an angel. It's not even a demon. It's a spirit that it's basically a god, a personal god of yours that has existed before your existence, and basically, your goal, your goal in the very end of whatever incarnations you go is to be in complete union with that spirit. So it just happens to be around you for each and every one of your lifetimes, and you just kind of navigate the world together.
So, so just to answer someone's questions, if there is a composite deity composed of Abaddon and Astaroth, I haven't met it. I wouldn't be surprised if there was, but I have not come across such a. Okay, there is one. I just found out. Okay, I can now confirm that. um, have I seen the Tentatoras or Infidiators? I actually don't have much gnosis of them. Those are the demons that are supposed to be ruled by Mammon, according to Safariel's work. So Ignis asked if you've used psychedelics with magic.
Oh yeah, a ton, a ton. I live in the Pacific Northwest, so getting access to psychedelics is really, really easy. Safe ones at that too. So thankfully, um, I have good connections, so I'm able to get lab made stuff. But yeah, I've done shrooms is one of them. Shrooms is great. LSD, I've done magic on LSD, and I've done DMT as well. Now, obviously, when you do DMT, you can't really physically move, or even if you try, it's going to be very hard. But I have done magic in the DMT realms, so it's fantastic. Necromancy is fantastic on DMT. I don't think anyone has ever said that, but if anyone has
Yeah,
ever said that before, but it's fantastic on DMT because you'd be surprised how many dead entities you'll walk through. But um, using shrooms as a catalyst for invocation, fantastic, fantastic choice. Obviously, like, mind you guys, I'm not condoning the use of psychedelics. I don't
yes, yeah.
encourage. I'm not encouraging anyone to use it. Where I am is a place where there's a gray area. Certain psychedelics are legal in some sort of jurisdiction, but they're not like legal. I just putting that out there, guys, like, that is, you do not need to be using psychedelics to be a better magician. It's just a substance, it's a tool. Just like how some people don't use pendulums when they do divinations. It is what it is. So, yeah.
I as the owner of this channel, I would like to strongly disavow drug use. um, you feel free to refuse, but someone's asking if they can see your altar.
No, absolutely not, dude, I'm sorry.
And no, Adam has not flown out.
Matt Smith with the ancient lore.
Yeah, West Coast represent. Um, do I have any info on those fallen magicians that Sorath summoned to advise you? Yeah. So what happens is I've talked about this before, so I'll summarize it. So what a lot of people do when they try to cross the abyss, they kind of try to fight Karanzan. So Karanzan will give them a challenge. If they fight back well enough, they get to cross. If not, their true self is destroyed, and what remains of their soul becomes part of the Gothic hive mind in the afterlife. So Karanzan and Chagall, the two rulers, those two, despite being two separate entities, they operate with a hive mind. So all those fallen magicians become extensions of that hive mind. Um, but yeah, so they still have some traces of individuality left. Like they speak in first person, they're aware of who they were and how they wound up where they were. They're still better at certain types of magic individually than others, just like any current practitioner or any spirit is. Um, but yeah, they sort of experience this sort of existential loneliness because they are all one and thus all alone. But yeah, um, true self destroyed. Is that what causes the second death? You could argue that that's a form of second death if you wanted to.
What else is here? Let's see who else asked. See, there's a lot of questions everyone's asking. Ignis
Looks
says, Augustus and Lucius. Every time I see the word Ignis, I just think of like Ignis from Final Fantasy 15. So I just keep reading it in his voice. So I don't know why. Sorry. Um, damn. Oh my gosh. Ego. Getting your ego destroyed by entities. I tell you, it's a very humbling experience. I mean, I'll tell you that much. Um, albino apes, very very nice. I haven't tried albino apes myself, but I'll probably have to give it a go the next time I'm at the dispensary. Um, Omar says, "What's your opinion on Mejura?" Ooh,
Meazurai.
I I actually don't have an opinion. It's like, and I don't form opinions that quick about things. The reason why is just because I don't know it enough to know anything about that. Like, really, you want to ask anyone, you ask him right over here. But in terms of my experience, I have felt that it's powerful. Like, I mean, that's really all I can say in terms of what I have felt firsthand, but I don't really have much of an opinion and whatnot. Ariane says, "How true is Gnosticism?"
Not very.
Not very, and I think that seems to sum up for a lot of people, like a lot of occultists in from any path, like a lot of like especially those that are versed in Gnosticism. There are elements in Gnosticism that actually do work and actually do make sense. The idea of a demiurge is very real, but if you really want to know how true is Gnosticism, like you have to think like Gnosticism is a big umbrella. Like there's Valentinians, there's all these different kinds of sects of Gnosticism that exist. So no, not very, honestly.
Yeah. All religions are branches of the same tree, as the Spider Green once told me, so they're all flawed. By all means, take bits and pieces that you find helpful, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Gnosticism, and I do work with some of the archons, such as Paraplex and Ophiomorphos.
Yeah.
But I've already got enough content about the abyss. I'm not going to keep retrudging that. So 46 minutes is a good time period, and my phone is getting close to dead.
Do
So
you
I think we
wanna
should
do you want me to close on a different topic before we go, or you wanna what's your take?
yeah. I guess I'll just ask you about your experience with Santa Muerte, and then we'll close it there.
Sure thing. Um, I'll tell you about my experience real quick. Augustus, have you seen DMT Jesters? Yes, I have. Um, I've seen them. DMT Jesters, Mantises, the whole spiel. Um, Santa Muerte is probably one of the biggest contributors to my magical practice. She herself, she's been like huge. She taught me necromancy.
Mm,
She taught me necromancy. She taught me business before anyone else ever did. She taught me everything, like everything.
mm,
In the beginning, in my beginning stages, she was incredibly powerful. I had an amazing altar dedicated to her. There was one point where I had to put the altar down, but I have brought it back up, and I am working with her. But Santa Muerte, I mean, she is death personified. She's incredibly, incredibly, incredibly powerful, and it also helps a lot energetically for her that she is well revered. I am kind of pissed off though because there are a lot of misconceptions about her, like people calling her like the narco saint and like thinking that those
yeah.
that work with her are like narcos or people that work with the cartel. Like it's such a surface level assumption. So people technically get that wrong a lot. I'm not going to go too deep into like what or who Santa Muerte is, just mainly because like there's already enough information out there to go over that. But my experiences with her is she's basically taught me everything. I think that she's probably one of the best entities to work with simply because she just doesn't discriminate.
Mm,
Like I think anyone like this is my hot take. I'm just gonna say it. Like if you're a magician and you can only work with one entity and one entity only, there's only two I can think about. It would just literally be Lucifer and Santa Muerte, like either or. If you
mm.
couldn't work with any other spirit, you couldn't work with any other entity, like that would be like the ones that you're going to reach out to. You're not going to reach out to anyone else if you didn't have any other option. Super powerful. I don't work with her from like a Catholic point of view that people typically do. There's nothing wrong with that if you do that, if you want to do that. Um, like I said, she doesn't discriminate. You show her, you're respectful of her, you're respectful of the traditions she recognizes, and you do whatever you want to do that works between you and that and her. You will have a fantastic time. I don't think I've ever had any issues or like heard of anyone having any issues working with her. She is fantastic.
Hell yeah. Um, yeah, Santa Muerte is definitely my primary guide for underworld magic, death magic, and necromancy. I absolutely love her. Um, just a wonderful spirit to work with. There's a reason she's so
Yeah.
popular among Satanists. Like, as you said, she
Yeah.
discriminate. Like, name a Catholic folk saint that's been popular among Satanists and demonologists. I'll wait. You can think of her and none others. Like, she's super cool. I also hate the narco saint thing. That'd be like calling the Virgin Mary a pedo saint because of what the fucking Catholic Church gets up to. It's just
Yeah.
weird. Um, yeah. So, before we close out, are there any services you've been offering lately? You still offering occult
Yeah.
services?
Yeah, I do, I do. Originally, I wasn't offering services for quite some time, but, to give, like, a really quick rundown, if you guys find me on Instagram, it's literally just Augustus Gregori, or if you go on augustusgregori.com, you can take a look at the services I offer. I do offer sigil channeling services. I do offer, coaching calls, like, consulting coaching calls as well. And I do offer a 3-month intensive like coaching program that is tailored to you. And then my little, I guess my magnum opus would be the occult roadmap. There's a lot of people that talk about the occult roadmap, so you can do some googling on that. And then aside from that, I do have a per case basis of doing some spell work. I'm not gonna keep that going for too long, but if you are interested, um, basically, um, those are the services I do offer. They are always changing. It just depends on my schedule. I am a busy guy. I do travel. I do work. I do a lot of other things. So this is something I do when I have the time and the energy. So yeah. Do I channel stuff for sale? Yeah, I do. Just find it on my website, augustusgregori.com. I mainly channel sigils. I don't really like to channel messages simply because things do get lost in translation. And at the same time, I don't like the idea of doing that for money, especially when things get lost in translation from that aspect. It just doesn't feel right. But to each of their own, right? Um, Gestures are nice. What do they teach? Well, what they teach is always in terms of it's like riddles or just like they show you things, so you have to interpret it yourself. But yeah. Anyways, everyone, I think that's all for the questions. But yeah, that's it. Those are my services.
So his link tree is in the description of this live stream. By all means, check it out. He does a lot of good content. You recently released information about what appears to be an unrecorded demon on Instagram, in essay format, no less.
Oh yeah. Wait, which one are we talking about?
Sozal.
Oh yeah, Surzor. Yeah, that was a really interesting time. Evoked, like he just kind of reached out to me, and yeah, I don't have much to say besides what was on the Instagram post specifically and on the channel and on the channel sigil. I would recommend you give it a go. Yeah, he's pretty cool. He's pretty powerful. I was supposed to release part two of that because he came with this other entity that I also evoked. But the thing was, um, he just kind of decided, hey, now is actually not the time. I kind of changed my mind, so I'm like, okay, well, I guess that's it. Hey, Behemoth. Oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in years. Oh my goodness. um
Hey, man,
yeah.
we're actually about to end.
Yeah, we're actually
Sorry.
about to end. I'm so sorry. It's an absolute pleasure to see him in the chat. I followed his channel for years.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, that's kind of like my take on it with Surzors. Just take a look at the Instagram. You can kind of see where I'm coming from. I remember when I'm so sorry. I still remember it. I told you to go and you know talk to Hemorrhosh, and then I didn't warn you. I didn't know.
about my sea monster phobia?
about your sea monster phobia. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad, but
It wasn't
yeah,
that bad. I made it
that
through. It did freak me
that
out a bit.
that was my bad. That was seriously my bad.
You
But,
had no way to know.
I had no way. I mean, like, when I saw him, I was like, "Yeah, he's got, like, a shrimp, like, kinda, like, looks like a shrimp or, like, a crayfish of a head." I'm like, "Yeah." I didn't think much of it, and then you just messaged me out of nowhere. I didn't even tell you what he looked like. You're just like, "Dude, what the hell, man?" I'm like, "Huh? Oh, I am so sorry. I am so, so sorry." Question here. Augustus, are you planning any books? I am. So a little bit of an announcement. I'll be releasing a grimoire, a digital grimoire. I might make a printed version available, but it's free, guys. It's going to be a digital grimoire. It's going to be free. But there is a catch. The grimoire will not be. It'll only host like maybe four actual entities that we know of. Everything else, they're all just egregores. So just a forewarning. Like usually people bitch and complain about like, "Oh, I don't like this grimoire because it's not real. It's all just egregores." I'm telling you straight up, I'm gonna be honest with you, these are all egregores. So just with that aside, if you're okay with that, then that's fine. But yeah, I will be releasing a book. Maybe I will be releasing as well a oracle deck or a tarot deck eventually. But yes to the grimoire. I'm still writing it. It's going to be some time, but I hope you guys like it when it does come up. I'm keeping quiet about it as much as I can because I don't want to divulge too much into it. But it is in the works. It's been in the works since um, October. So yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's about all we have time for. It was absolutely phenomenal to have you.
Hey, I'll make time for another one next time. It was phenomenal to be here. VK, we go way back, so I'm really glad that I'm able to show up. Deciding on how to do this properly and just wearing a mask was probably the smartest thing we could have come up with. If you guys are not sure yet, I don't like showing my face for a multitude of reasons. It's just to protect uh like not only my identity, but it's yeah, I don't want anyone to know who I am, uh, really. But anyways,
I guess that's it. Have a
all
great
right,
night and enjoy your immortality.
cheers.